Hi everybody, that's Allie.
And that is Dash,
Welcome to our playdate.
where we choose a game, sometimes make up our own rules, and play for a while.
Enjoy listening and playing along.
Or don't. We can't hear you. It's a podcast. Do you not know how to shuffle my way?
I do, but I just don't like it because it bends the cards. And as a magician by trade, I do not like to bend the cards.
Oh, you're a magician now?
Well, I've studied the art of magic and done magic card tricks.
Oh, okay.
And have several magic card tricks in my repertoire, so I would say that qualifies me as a magician. No?
Does it?
Well, at what point do you qualify as a magician? Like, what is the
When you get paid
criteria
to do magic.
That's a professional magician.
Yeah.
Is there no such thing as an amateur magician?
Then you say I'm an amateur musician or I do magic tricks.
Fine, I'm an amateur magician. As an amateur magician, I do not like to bend my cards.
It's just not as satisfying to shuffle it the other way. It also doesn't give you a very good shuffle. It's just like flopping.
I would argue the other one doesn't either. You're moving the card one card lower than it was before.
No, you're not. You're moving some cards 3 lower, some cards the same spot,
Yeah.
some cards. It's not like you're doing 1 and 1 and 1 and 1.
All right.
Whatever.
Anyway.
It's not as satisfying. My way is definitely better.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with you.
Hey, ghosties.
Oh, we are starting this episode in a mood, aren't we? You know what it is? It's the heat.
It is.
It's the heat. The
Yeah,
heat is getting
we're recording and there's no AC in the room and it's very hot.
Yeah.
And I'm never hot.
Behind the curtain, folks. My AC is busted.
Yeah.
And we are sacrificing to record these episodes.
Yeah, I am never hot. And I am sweating.
You're wearing the
Oh my-
bracelets I gave you.
Yes.
Cute.
Yeah, they add a nice pop of color to an outfit, and I wore them to work today and didn't take them off when I changed my outfit.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we are playing What Have You Done by Hygge Games.
That's right. We played this game once before,
Mm-hmm.
and before we had our rating system.
Right.
So we're gonna play it again.
Right. It's Hygge games are usually really good games to play as conversation starters
Game
or
is
get to know
is
you.
a strong word for what
Right.
it is. It's more of like an activity, like an
Mhm.
icebreaker. The point of the game is to have a conversation. It's not to win or lose
Right.
or compete. Really, yeah.
Yeah.
So we love their games. They're great
Mhm.
for a medium like podcasting.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yes,
And video podcasting now
and
that we're available on video.
podcasting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's draw one and we'll do a few of these and we'll get because we've done this before, so we'll do a few more. There's several cards. Okay, so let's do each card has 4 questions. So let's do 2 cards and
Okay.
we'll each answer the 4 questions.
Sounds perfect.
Allie, have you ever had a classmate who was very odd?
Of course. Who hasn't?
Yeah, right. Who hasn't?
Yeah, who hasn't?
I feel like
I always feel like I was the one who was
Yeah,
very odd.
yeah, I
But
was
no,
about
I
to
mean
say that.
definitely. Like I was hanging out with a band and the theater kids. Like those are the
Right.
weirdos anyway.
yeah.
And in the hierarchy of school,
Mhm.
it's like the band kids, the art kids, the theater kids, the choir kids. They're all the kind of the
Yeah.
quote unquote weirdos. But I like weird people. They're interesting.
Right. Same. And I feel we've discussed this before that being improvisers, right,
Mhm.
is sort of like this is where all the weird kids go.
Yeah.
Like you grow up and become improvisers and find your tribe there with other weirdos.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I'm thinking about it in terms of high school, even though I've had classmates beyond
Mhm.
that age. Like, everyone's just trying to figure stuff out, and then you come to know who the person is as an adult, or you find out more about them as an adult, and you're like, oh, okay, like there were things they just hadn't discovered yet,
That
or there
makes
were
sense. Yeah.
there were hobbies they hadn't yet plugged into, and so they
Mhm.
just become more themselves, and now they're not
Right.
as odd. They're just a more fully realized human being.
Right. Yeah. Because when you're kids, you think like, oh, everybody should be the same, and anybody who's not the same
Exactly.
is a weirdo. But then you grow up and you
hide
realize
the things that you think are not the same, or you
Mhm.
do things that you don't really enjoy, but you think is quote unquote normal.
Right.
And then all of that sort of sloughs away when you're in college. And then
Mhm.
as an adult, you're just like, no, it's this.
Yeah, I don't
This
care.
is
You're
what
not
I
paying
am.
me, so I don't
Right,
care what. yeah.
exactly. I don't need to be around any of you people.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Allie, have you ever had an overnight hospital stay?
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, yes, I have. When I was diagnosed with diabetes when I was 12, I was in. I'm still slightly peeved about this. We had a long weekend off from school. We had like a Friday and a Monday off for like winter break. And I spent the whole time in the hospital, and my mom would not let me take a day off on Tuesday. I had to go to school. I spent the whole break in the hospital figuring out I had type 1 diabetes, and my mom still made me go to school on Tuesday. I'm still sad and
she
bitter
couldn't give
about
you
it.
one day.
I know. That's
and
why
she listens to this podcast too. So
I know. And
so Allie's mom, just so you know, she's still holding that against you.
Yes. And I talk about it in therapy all the time. No, I don't. And then my second overnight hospital stay was also type 1 diabetes related.
Yeah. And I was there for that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was at work. My blood sugar was very high. I started vomiting everywhere. I took a golf cart to the hospital, which was next door.
Right.
And I spent the night. I think it was just one night that time.
It was one night because we brought you home the next morning.
Until my sugar came down and we were able to sort out the situation. So I definitely have.
I've had a few incidents that happened at night, but I wouldn't call it an overnight because I didn't stay overnight. I went, they checked me out, everything turned out cool, and I went home.
Right, it's like an urgent care sort of scenario.
Right, it was more of an urgent care scenario, right?
Yeah, yeah, I've had that too.
Yeah. The only time I had, that I can remember, that I had an overnight stay was when I broke my leg.
Skateboarding, right?
Skateboarding, yeah.
You heard that story on the pod
earlier. Yeah, you've heard that before. I broke my leg skateboarding, went to the hospital, but because I was a kid and it never happened to me before, like I had to wait till the next day when somebody could come and teach me how to walk on crutches.
Yikes.
So I didn't leave until the next day, which means, I had to stay overnight. Allie, have you ever met one of your idols?
I have.
Tell me about that.
I mean, I don't know about idol. Like I don't idolize her in the way of like I want to be like her. But my sister was living in Chicago, going to school. I was, I don't know, living somewhere, probably in Michigan somewhere. And Tori Amos was doing a book tour, and my sister got tickets. And so we waited in line for hours and hours and hours. And you bought the book, and then you waited in line, she would sign the book. And I met her, and she is very tiny, and she is more beautiful than you think she is. And I think she's beautiful. She's even more beautiful in real life. And I remember I get up there. I've loved her for years. Like she was my light. I don't think I would have made it out of high school as a sane and relatively well-adjusted person if it wasn't for Tori Amos. And college as well. And the person in front of me goes, they walk away. My sister goes, walks away. Tori turns to me. Immediately I start sobbing. Immediately sobbing. And not just like the crying of like a tear comes out. Like I was crying so hard that my hands got cold. Like that's how hard I was crying.
Wow.
And she reached over to hug me, and her bright red hair got like stuck in the tears on my face. And she was so kind and so respectful of the fact that people felt that way about her. I will never forget that. Because you could look at the person and be like, oh, what a weirdo. Or like, I don't get it or whatever. But she was so respectful. And I think she really understood, like, I have an ability to affect people in this way. And I need to treat that respectfully. You know, we didn't have a 35-minute conversation or anything. But I felt very, very respected, and I have her signed book in my office. Because I'm like, will my house burn down or will my office burn down? And then I was like, probably my house is more likely to burn down
than your office.
So I'm going to keep it in my office,
right,
in a metal cabinet. So that's where it is.
To protect it.
I've met other celebrities as well, but that was really the big one.
That's very cool. Tori Amos is awesome. Yeah.
She's great. I just read her most recent book. I listened to her most recent book. It's very good. It's called Resistance.
Very nice.
Tori, I love
recommend
you.
it. We'll tag her.
I really love you.
We'll tag her on social media and
Your-
see if she
Your
responds.
music video for A Sort of Fairy Tale with Adrian Brody is like one of my favorite
Oh
things
yes.
in the history of the universe.
Is that the one where like he's a head on a foot on a
Yes,
skateboard? Yeah,
yes.
that was a very weird but
it's
awesome
so
video.
weird and it's so beautiful.
Mhm.
If you have not watched that music video,
Yeah.
finish watching this podcast on YouTube and then go over and type into the search bar A Sorta Fairy Tale and watch that video and have your life changed.
Yeah, that was from the like the peak of the music video scene, like that late '90s. Yeah.
No. This was beyond 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
wow.
was well into the 2000s.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like that late '90s, early 2000s when music videos sort of peaked, and then
Right.
the internet
No,
became
it was
a thing.
before. Yeah, it was before streaming.
Yeah,
So
right.
now,
Mhm.
I don't know if people really watch music videos anymore in the way that we did when
Right.
MTV was showing them. Things
Right,
Like that.
right.
But
I don't know that they were idols, but definitely they were people that I looked up to when I was a kid. And then sort of like, you grow out of it as you get older, but then you meet them.
yeah.
And in this case, I had two. And I met them both through the world of professional wrestling.
I knew
so
that.
It had to
I
be.
knew you were going to say that.
I mean, where else am I meeting famous people?
Of
Oh,
course.
except that one time that I met Iggy Pop.
Iggy Pop.
I met Iggy Pop, but I never really idolized Iggy Pop, so he's not part of this story. However, one day I will tell you the story of when I met Iggy Pop and worked with him.
You didn't tell it on the pod?
I will tell it on the pod. I have to save something for later, right? We have much more episodes to do. So one of my idols. So when I was a kid, I was a really big fan of the Power Rangers, right? And obviously everybody loved the Green Ranger, Jason David Frank, rest in peace.
Obviously.
I was still, however, a fan of Jason Austin St. John, the Red Ranger. Big fan of his. And he actually may have been the first Power Rangers action figure that I ever bought was the Red Ranger.
Yeah.
And
I think I like the yellow one only because the outfit was yellow.
yellow, right? And yellow is your favorite color. Yeah. So I was a big fan of Austin St. John and Jason and that character and whatever. And I was really sad when he left the show. It was him, Trini, and Zach all left the show and they got replaced.
You're saying it like these are names that I know.
No, but people who are fans of Power Rangers will know who they are.
Well, of course.
So
You
those three.
explain everything to everyone.
Yeah.
Yet somehow you're just dropping the names of Power Rangers like everyone
Sorry. So anyway.
is part of the Power Ranger.
So I was at a wrestling show at a SuperCon one year, and Austin St. John was there signing autographs and doing appearances or whatever. And he shows up as part of our wrestling show or whatever and comes backstage and he's talking to us about what we do and how long we've been doing it and whatever. And we're just talking to him like he's one of the guys, right? And also we kind of look alike, which I think is funny. Like now obviously when I was a kid and he was 5 or 6 years older than me, but like
I'm gonna have to Google that.
yeah, but like now Austin St. John and me are practically identical. So he's talking to us or whatever, and he looks right at me. And this is the way I'm going to tell this story, whether it's true or not. He looks right at me and says, "This is awesome. What you guys are doing is awesome. Keep this up. Go out there, live your legends." And when I tell you that to this day, I carry that in my heart, that Austin St. John, the Red Ranger, said directly to me in my eyes, "Go live your legend." That's right here. He probably writes that on every picture that he autographs.
I
but
feel like he came up with that one day and he's like, "Oh, that's good.
yeah,
that's good."
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say every time. That's instead of goodbye, I'm just going to say, "All right, everybody, live your legends," and walk away. But in my head, that's how I tell the story, and that's how that story happened in my
of
head.
course.
And it doesn't matter. There were 5 other people in that group that he was talking to. It was right at me. So I've lived my legend.
And everyone who tells the story, it was right to them.
Yeah, right to them.
And that's why he is a magical being,
Mhm.
because he can say something directly into 5 people's eyes at one time.
And the other one was Shane Hurricane Helms. He was a professional wrestler who dressed up like a superhero in like a green and black outfit. And his character was so dumb and so sports entertainment, but he was also a pretty good wrestler. But he played it so well and so committedly that it became like an underground fan favorite character, to the point where he dropped the character and then he got fired or whatever, laid off or however wrestlers go. And then eventually he would like come back time and time again as a special appearance as Hurricane Helms. So I was a fan of him and this character so much that one year I went to a live WWE show and I was dressed up in full Hurricane costume. I cosplayed. I made the costume entirely myself and I dressed up as him and I showed up right as he arrived at the arena. Somebody told him, hey, there's a guy outside who's dressed like you. So he comes out and he says, I needed to come out here because somebody told me there was a guy out here dressed like me.
Yeah.
So I got to meet him firsthand. I shook his hand. He signed my superhero cape that I was wearing that I had made. And
How old were you?
I was 18, 19 maybe. I was youngish. I wasn't that old. But I cosplay. People
I don't know
cosplay.
if I wanted you to say 7 or 27. That's why I asked that question. I'm not sure which one I wanted you to say.
No, I was still young. I was just out of high school. But it was it's cosplay. Like you go to a comic book convention, there's people cosplaying of all ages. It doesn't, it doesn't matter. So fast forward, right? Now it's 10, 12, 13 years later, and I am wrestling as Bane from the Batman series. I'm wrestling as Bane on a SuperCon, and who should guest star on our show but Shane Hurricane Helms? He is still doing the character, and he's making appearances as the character and wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to wrestle opposite. Like we were in the ring together. We wrestled each other. He gave me a choke slam. I got to like break his back or whatever. It was awesome. And when I tell you that for someone who was such a big fan of somebody to then grow up, go into that field and not only meet one of the people who inspired you to go into that, but to work with them in such a capacity, it was awesome. Afterwards, I went up to him and I told him...
that's really like meeting an idol.
You think so? I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, that would qualify.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I went up to him with the picture. I had the picture with me and I was just like, hey, listen, I didn't want to tell you this before the match because I didn't want you to think I was some sort of like nerdy fanboy or whatever. But this many years ago, I met you outside. I was dressed like you and we took this picture together. And he was like, that's amazing. That's awesome. That's incredible. Like, I can't believe that this happened. And he's like, no, dude, that's so cool. And I was like, would you mind if we take another picture together? Because I want to have like the pair like now and 10 years later. So yeah, we took a picture together or whatever. And I tagged him and he liked the post on Instagram. And that was really cool of him. So yeah, that was that moment where, to be able to meet and work with like with somebody you looked up to or whatever.
Yeah. They say never meet your idols, but I think sometimes you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you can. Allie, have you ever been to a rodeo?
I have.
Tell me about that.
I had a friend who has since moved to another state, but we would do random things. Like we would find random things in Miami and be like, that sounds fun. Let's do it. So we would go to these like random museums. And one of the things that we found to do was go to a rodeo. And I was like, dude, do you want to go to a rodeo? And he was like, yeah, let's go to a rodeo. And my sister happened to be in town. So the three of us went to a rodeo.
That's awesome.
They actually have rodeos out at Tropical Park.
Tropical Park?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they do. They have the stadiums and the horse stables.
So there's plenty of, and I think they have a bunch of them in Davie as well. But yeah, you can go see a rodeo here in South Florida.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was fun. I wouldn't like devote my life to it or make it a hobby, but it's definitely a fun thing to do.
Right.
Certainly for once in your life. It's not,
and
not a couple times.
The rodeos here are different from like in other countries because here they're much more careful with the animals and.
I mean, it was a fun time. Yeah.
I've never been to a rodeo, so that was entirely your story.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. You do a card.
I don't like the garb. It's just not my style.
Sure.
But, have you ever met someone online and then in person?
Ooh.
I don't think I ever have.
You know what? Yes, I have. I have. Because I mean, I'm sure it's happened several times.
Lies. I have.
Yeah, you had to have.
But pandemic, right? It
Sure,
was like you met
right.
someone on Zoom or whatever, and then you
Yes.
saw them in real life.
Yes. Well, we met the Zadak sisters
Yes.
who do This Is Improv, and who also have a podcast called Legends of Yesterday.
Yep.
This
is Legends of
This
Yesterday.
is Legends of Yesterday. And they do history of Florida
right.
and
I
also
have-
spooky stories and
right.
stuff. Yeah. So we met them.
In that
yeah.
case, yeah, that's how I've met
Mhm.
people. Not like meet someone online through messaging or
Right.
something.
Before that, I did meet a few people through Miami's Free Art Friday
Okay.
movement.
Right.
So a lot of people that I met through Facebook and the Free Art Friday thing, I would then like meet at art galleries and be like, oh, hey, we're all part of the same group. And I've seen you and I've commented on your posts and we've exchanged artwork, because the way it works is like you go, you drop off some artwork, somebody else comes and picks it up. So sometimes I knew people because I would pick up their artwork or they would pick up my artwork, and we knew each other online, but we'd never met in person. And so I met a couple of people like that who now I consider good friends.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool.
Mhm.
It's cool, especially because when you meet someone online, you're meeting usually over some sort of shared interest or shared
Right.
goal.
Yeah.
And I think that helps because you already
Mhm.
know you have a thing in common.
Right. And
but
as a-
yeah, I hadn't before the pandemic, but pandemic, I met
Yeah.
a few people on the Zoom.
Yeah.
That I
And I
have
ca-
since met in real life.
I can't tell you how many times, because I can't remember how many times I have said the words, hey, nice to finally meet you officially in person.
Yeah. Right. Oh, you do have a full body.
Right.
Look at that. Have you ever been a regular at a bar or restaurant and been able to say, I'll have the usual?
Absolutely. 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I am weirdly jealous of that.
Yeah. I've done that a couple of times. As a matter of fact, once I get to the point where they say, you'll have your usual, I'm already like, I need to stop coming here. I don't know why, but I feel like that.
For me, that's goals.
Yeah.
I don't go anywhere often enough.
There's so around my job there's a few places to eat, and I'm a creature of habit, so when I would go to those places I would always get the same thing, because that's the thing, like, it's good,
You have anxiety. That's
yeah,
what
I have
that is.
anxiety, and that's what it is.
that
Like, I don't want to get something that I'm not going to enjoy, so
Yeah.
I get the things I know I'm going to
That's
enjoy.
anxiety.
There's a natural chicken grill is what it's called now, over in Doral. They knew me. Like, I would walk in through the door and the guy wouldn't even take my order. He'd be like, all right, you can come around this way. Like, he just knew what my order was.
Wow. I'm super jealous.
When Miller's Ale House, when I was at the theater down on Coral Gables, I would go to Miller's Ale House anywhere from 4 to 2 nights a week. And we always had the same 2 or 3 servers who knew us.
Yeah.
Right. So every time we went in there, it was just like the usual. Yeah, the usual. And they were like, I would sit down and they would have a Diet Coke waiting for me.
Yeah.
That kind of deal. And at
Oh, no,
Duffy's, when
not
we were
me.
at Duffy's, we were regulars and we know
Yeah,
the
but
owner by name.
I always got something different every time. Like,
Yeah.
I never had a usual.
Yeah, Duffy's was more of a change it up every week
Yeah.
situation.
I don't
but
like to eat the same thing.
No?
Even if it's the same restaurant, I like to try something
Gotcha.
different. So I think I know the answers to the next 2 questions for
Mhm.
you. Have you ever pooped in the woods?
In the woods? No, I've not.
Yeah, me neither.
No.
And have you ever milked a cow? No, but you have sat on
I
a
have
milking
sat on a
stool.
milking stool and done the milking motions, which you hate
Yes.
when I do.
I would prefer if you never did that motion again. I have never milked a cow. I have never milked a cow with my hands. I
Okay.
have seen
How
cows.
did you milk a cow?
I have seen cows
Oh,
being
okay.
milked. Like, I have been to a barn
Yes, and
where
seen
cows
it.
were being milked
Right.
with the machines
Mhm.
and stuff. And I saw it.
Right. And like, I get the premise of it. Like, you
Yeah.
can't just pull on the teat. You have to like go up and then like squeeze the udder a little bit.
Can
and
you
then...
not? Can you not? You're doing it on purpose.
I am. I'm doing it on purpose because I know it makes you uncomfortable.
Yes. Ew.
But I have sat on a milking stool, which is a one-legged stool. And actually, you know what? Now that I've gotten into woodworking, I might make a one-legged stool. Just for fun.
All right. You have fun with that. Let's rate
Yeah.
this game.
Yeah, let's rate this game. The cards are typical playing cards. They're just glossy cards.
The box, I'm gonna give it a old school sign in Vegas because that's what
That's
it
the
reminds me
design.
of when I look at it. Like one of those old school Vegas signs with the circles and then the big bold kind of diamondy sort of shape in the middle. I'm giving it a old school Vegas sign.
Old school
for
Vegas
the
sign.
box.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what
And-
they were going for.
Yeah, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good vibe.
Yeah.
Nice square box too.
Playability?
Did you rate the cards?
I did.
What did you say?
I said playing cards. They remind me of playing
yeah,
cards.
but you can't rate cards as cards. The point of the thing is to rate it as something that it's not.
Okay. So
That's
it
telling
is.
the people nothing.
All right. I am.
Hey everyone, guess what the cards are? Wait for it. Cards.
Yeah. I am rating it as the material that your driver's license insurance card comes in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a driver's license insurance card.
Yeah. Quality.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
I do like that there's 4 questions per card because
Yeah.
you can only do like
Mhm.
2 or 3 cards and there's tons more to go through.
Right.
Playability, I mean, this is table tennis.
Yeah.
You
super
cannot
easy.
get easier than that.
You can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't get it wrong.
Because there's no winning or losing. So
Right.
You can't.
It's you talking about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And fun.
I think the fun level depends on the cards that you get.
Yeah. Whether the stories are fun or
Whether
super
the
deep.
stories are fun or
I
super deep.
feel like
But
all
either
these
way, it's
questions are all like none of these questions are like
Either
deep,
way, it's a
make you cry questions.
good experience.
Yeah.
Right.
I think so.
Yeah. And if you liked hearing us play this game,
Mhm.
you can go back and listen to season 3, episode 6, where we played it for the first time.
Yeah, and hear us answer a bunch of other questions.
That's right. I don't remember the questions, but they
I
were
don't either.
different from the ones that we
drew
answered
today, yeah.
today.
So that was What Have You Done by Hygge Games.
That's right.
Check out any one from the line of Hygge Games. That's Hygge Games. They're all very similar to this. They obviously have different themes to them, but a lot of their games are very much like friendly, have conversations with your friends and people randomly.
Yeah.
So that was, that was What Have You Done? And what have you done, little ghosties? Let us know. Bye.
Oh, I missed that.
You missed that? Okay, here we go.
I missed it.
I'm not
It's the
cutting
heat.
any of this. It's the heat. It's getting to
It's-
us. I'm not cutting any of this. So what have you done, little ghosties? Let us know in the comments.
Bye. But like appropriately.
Yeah, appropriately
Like
let us know what have you
appropriate.
done.
This is a PG-13 podcast, kids and adults.
Yeah, your comments will get. I don't know what they'll get.
I don't know. Can you delete comments?
Well, we have a filter.
Pause while we talk about how YouTube works.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have a filter?
Yeah, we have a filter. So it filters out any like bad words or.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Now we'd love to hear from you.
You can visit playdatepod.us to watch our videos,
Access our episode library,
find out more about our brand of quality, clean comedy.
and contact us with any questions or comments.
Improvisers love audience suggestions, so make sure you visit playdatepod.us.
And the podcast you just heard was a production of Society Circus Players.
If you like what you heard today, please rate, review, subscribe, and share it with a friend.
And finally, if life's a circus, we're the clowns!
And this is by
Hygge
Hygge Games. I love
Games.
Hygge Games.
Hygge
Games.